I wanted to make a video to let people know about a situation that I've been dealing with since June of this year. My father was killed in an automobile accident in 2008. In 2007, he had put the money that he had left out of the sale of the home that I grew up in into a CD with Atlantic Southern Bank. Atlantic Southern Bank failed in 2011, and my father had put $50,000 in a CD in 2007. He died in 2008, a month before the CD matured. I have all the documentation. I have the paperwork where twice Atlantic Southern Bank, before they failed, just said they were rolling the CD over. I have all that original documentation. When they failed in 2011, there was $55,471 in change that the money had accrued in interest, so $5,000 some odd dollars in interest. And you know, we're always told that your money is safe in a bank because the FDIC will cover it. Well, what happened in this case, they've got supposedly 18 months to turn the deposits back over to the FDIC. Well, in this case, Certus Bank took over the deposits from Atlantic Southern Bank. Certus Bank failed in 2015, but they voluntarily closed their doors. And since they did that, apparently the FDIC has no records of what happened with the money. Now, I've been living with my mother since 2013. I would have known if the bank had ever sent a thing saying, hey, you need to collect this money, whatever. We never got a letter, number one, on the failure of Atlantic Southern. We didn't know. We didn't know Certus had failed. Matter of fact, we didn't know that my father had put this money into an account until June of this year, when I found the documentation in some paperwork, because we were going to do a living will for my mother about her estate. So since June, I contacted the FDIC, and they gave me the runaround. They sent me to the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, which I sent all copies of the documentation to. They in turn sent me back to the FDIC because they said they don't handle this. That's covered under FDIC, Federal Depositors Insurance Corporation. Well, then the FDIC said, well, you need to go to the state of Georgia unclaimed funds, which I did. There was no money that was ever turned over to the state of Georgia in my father's nor my mother's name. The money was for her. She is listed on the paperwork as payable upon his death. So there was no doubt as to who was supposed to get the money. I've tried and tried and tried with them. I've been told 3 different stories by the FDIC. I went to the bank that took over after Certus, which is Bank OZK, Bank of the Ozarks, out of Arkansas. We know all the crooked dealings if you've kept up with things that have gone on in Arkansas. But what I've come to realize is that we have a corrupt government and a corrupt banking system. And I came to find that you cannot sue a bank. Did you know that? I bet you didn't, because you've never had cause to. You can only do arbitration with a bank. Well, you can't do arbitration with a bank that voluntarily closed its doors, and you can't sue an entity that's just gone or voluntarily closed. So this video is just to let you know that your money isn't safe in the bank. If you think it is, then you're a fool. The FDIC, who you think will insure those deposits. This was not an investment. This was a CD. This was money deposited into the bank can't get it back. And the FDIC will do nothing. They told me today on 12/12/2022 that, you know, they close and there's nothing you can do, too bad. So the very organization that is supposed to protect you will not protect you when the time comes for you to try and see that they will. They won't. As I said, I have all of the documentation to prove what I'm saying. And apparently there's nothing that I can do. I've reached out to a legal organization. I haven't heard anything back. And I wondered why months ago when I did reach out to a lawyer in Macon, Georgia about suing a bank, they never returned my call. And it's because I found out today doing some research, you can't sue a bank. You can't sue them. Just like you cannot sue the pharmaceutical company for any harm done by their shots that they give you. You can't sue them. Did you know that? That our government, they lobbied Congress in 1986 because they were getting so many lawsuits from people that harm was done through certain things, products that they were putting upon the market, and people were dying and people were suffering injury. You can't sue them. So all these guys are working together, and you as a consumer, good luck, because you're not going to be treated fairly and you're not going to get anything. So here you go, folks. If you think your money is safe in the bank, especially in this volatile market and everything that we have now, you're fooling yourself. Okay? And I'm just letting you know there's no help for you. If you think it's safe, you got insurance and you're covered, you're not. And that's what this video is, to let you know. The bank can take every bit of money that you've got, and the FDIC is not going to get, they ain't going to have your back when it comes time to file a claim. And with the situation we're in, with your dollar, you may say, oh, well, everything costs so much more. No, the dollar is worth less. So your money doesn't have the purchasing power that it did. Everybody thinks it's inflation. No, the fact is that your money is not worth what it once was. So what's the answer to that? I don't know. You know, some people say get gold and silver. Well, you certainly can't eat that, can you? And if you got big pieces of gold or whatever, so, you know, how are you going to trade? Anyway, just know that everything you've been told to believe is not true. And that the government will cover for the banks and the banks will cover for the government. I kind of think they're in bed with each other, protecting each other, because to me, the FDIC basically acted like a gatekeeper to protect somebody's activities that weren't so legal. So, hard lesson. They stole from a widow. My mom's a widow. She could have used that money to fix up some things here at the house, which, you know, we need a new deck, we need new floors to be redone, but that doesn't matter. And I've been told today by the FDIC, sorry, there's nothing we can do. Nothing we can do. So the only thing I may possibly have hope for is that some lawyer somewhere could figure out something. Of course, that's going to cost probably half of the money if it could ever be recovered. But at this point, I don't think it's going to be recovered. So we had $55,000 stolen from our family through the banking system, and the federal government was okay with that. So if you want to commit a crime and you're out there, commit a white-collar crime, because apparently it doesn't matter. You can steal as much as you want as a white-collar criminal, and maybe you'll get a slap on the wrist. But apparently this happens all the time. That may not be a lot of money for some of you, but for me, it's quite a lot of money, and it's very disheartening to learn the hard way that your government and the banking system do not care, and they do not have your back. So let this be a warning to you. I highly recommend that you don't keep a whole lot of money in the bank, because I think we're headed for a depression, the likes of which we've never seen before. I think it's going to make the 1929 depression look like a cakewalk. I think the entire economy is not headed in a good direction. So do what you need to do to protect yourself and your family, because nobody's got your back but you. Don't learn about this stuff the way that I have. Thank you.